Welcome to another episode from the Daily Database Insights from Lucite. Again, I'm your favorite host, and at this point, we have installed our SQL Server, and we would like to connect to the database engine, but we don't have the graphical SQL Server Management Studio installed yet. Now, on my screen, I'm going to demonstrate that there are several ways to connect to the database, and this is going to be with the SQL CMD. This is a tool, a command line tool that is installed together with the database engine itself. All you need to do is launch a command line. Let's go with PowerShell admin, and you will just simply type while you're on the box SQL CMD, and then provide the instance by using the hyphen s, and then for this box here, since we're already on the box and it's a default instance, we can use the period to try to connect. Now when I try to connect, what happens is I get this error that the certificate chain was issued by an authority that is not trusted. So pretty much we want to trust that certificate chain. All I need to do is have the hyphen C, and there you go. I am actually connected to the database. I can show you the version that we have installed by typing that version function. So it will show you here that we have installed 2025 edition of SQL Server on a Windows Server 2022 Standard Evaluation Edition. And of course, I can show you the server name by selecting the server name function. So that tells you that I am on the SQL 2025 VM. And of course, I can also show you the names of the databases that we currently have on this instance, which means it's going to be select name from sys databases, and there you have it. We have the master, tempdb, model, and msdb. In fact, I can even go ahead and show you how to create a database over here. So it's going to be create database. Let's call this database Lucite database. So it's going to be ILUSIHT DB. And there you go. So if I go back and select the names of the databases, now you can see I have Lucite database. And if I wanted to use it, I mean, I can just use the database and go. So now I have changed the context to the Lucite database. All of this is fun, but most importantly, we're not going to be working on the command line if we don't really need to work on the command line. And that is why we have to install the SQL Server Management Studio. Installing the SQL Server Management Studio involves a couple of steps. The first step is we have to download the SQL Server Management Studio file. So normally what you would do is you would come over here and just type SSMS download, and then we would come over here, and so the new SSMS 21, this downloads the bootstrapper, pretty much this Visual Studio SSMS exe file. But remember, our setup, we have our box in an area that doesn't have direct connection to the internet, and so we have to build this file to get it to a point where we can go ahead and install this SSMS 21 offline. So the first thing is I'll click on that download, and it will download the file that I need, which is this file here. Then I will copy this file to a location that I desire. So the first thing I'm going to do is copy that file to some place that I want, which is going to be, let me create a folder for that file. So it's going to be called SSMS. Then I will go into that folder, and then I'm gonna place the downloaded file over there. So give me a second. So the bootstrapper has been copied into the folder, and the first thing we need to do is to create a local layout of this installation. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to call the bootstrapper, and I'm going to create the local layout on the SSMS folder. The layout is going to be created into an SSMS layout folder. So this is how you download the files that you need to go ahead and do your offline installation. So I'll just hit next so that I can start creating the local layout. And it's gonna pop this screen here, and it's gonna show me the progress of creating the local layout. So the SSMS local layout is ready. The next thing is I'm gonna copy this local layout to my target box. Once I copy it over there, then we are gonna begin the installation without the connection of the internet. So this has been copied over to my local box here. So the next possible step is to go ahead and start the installation. So what I'll do is, on my command line here, I'm gonna exit this, change directory, go into the folder, go into the local layout folder, and then I am going to call the installation file, and we'll start it from there. So that is not the full file name, so let me grab the V. Okay, so SSMS. There you have it. And then first, let me just do this. Let me clean this up. So VSSM. There you have it. And then let me get the rest of the parameters. There you have it. So I'll launch that, and it has kicked off the process of installation. So let's see what happens here. And for some weird reason, it's continuing here. I thought it had stopped for a moment there, but it's continuing. Alright, so it has stopped. So now we need to find out why it has stopped. The easiest way to find out why it has stopped is to go to the temp directory, which is going to be accessible using the %, temp, %, and we'll find this log that's going to tell us what's going on. So scrolling down on the log, it tells us that signature verification failed, unable to verify the integrity of the installation file. So what we need to do is to go and download the signature. And the signature is going to be downloaded from the Microsoft Windows Code Signing PCA 2024 certificates location. I'll share the link, or actually, yeah, I'll share the link. And so I have grabbed the certificate that we need. I've downloaded it. So here it is. I'll copy it and move it to the box. Put it on the D drive, softwares, put my certificate over there. Then I'm gonna install the certificate. So I install it. I might want to make sure that this is gonna be stored in the local machine. And then of course I'll select the automatic select so that it can be based automatically or stored automatically. Then I will finish the installation, and all I'm gonna wait for here is for the sign that the installation or the import was successful. So the import was successful, so I will go back here and try my installation again. Click continue. So it looks like we're cooking. Yeah, we're cooking. So I have the installation page showing up here, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and install it. This is gonna take some time, so I am gonna pause and be right back. And again, remember, this is an offline installation of SQL Server Management Studio 2021. So the installation is complete. There is a recommendation to restart the Windows to clean up any remaining files. I will do that later, but for now, what I want to do is to launch SQL Server Management Studio within my offline box. So basically, we have installed SQL Server Management Studio in the offline mode. Now remember, the previous versions of SQL Server Management Studio, it was easy to install them without having to go through the Visual Studio installer. I think the more Microsoft continues to release the newer versions of softwares, there is a little bit of sophistication that is also added to them. So I will close this because I don't need that no more. And this is the brand new SQL Server Management Studio. So now we have installed the database engine SQL Server 2025, and we have demonstrated how to connect to it using SQL Server command line or SQL CMD. And in fact, we went ahead and created a sample database called the site DB. So this is going to be the graphical user interface of interacting with your database. And like I mentioned, I'm on the box, and so I can specify the database name, or I can just use a period to denote that I'm trying to connect to the default instance. So if I go ahead and connect, and here we are currently connected to the default instance, and we can see our user database that we created on the command line, and so many other things to unpack. All right, so that's it. So if you know anybody who is trying to install the SQL Server Management Studio offline, you must show them this video. And if they are still struggling after that, please let them know that they can reach out and I can point them in the right direction. Final thing is, I was going to show you the link where you need to download the certificate for you to be able to have the offline installation going. So this is gonna be your link here. And plus, this is how you create the SQL Server Management Studio offline. All right. Thank you and goodbye.